us when we're live. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live session today. I'm just thrilled and honored, actually, to introduce Charlotte Holly to you. Charlotte is this incredible design talent, and you know how much of an interest we have in supporting the careers of designers. And Charlotte's at a point where it's obviously very early in her career, but I thought it would be fun to get a glimpse at what it's like to be at this point in her career, even though she's not actually in the business yet. And we also are going to be joined by Julie Rodecker. And I don't know if Julie's with us yet. She's going to be tapping in. So I'll introduce Julie in a little while, but I think we'll get started with Charlotte. So welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So Charlotte, first of all, could you share with us how you decided to pursue a career as a fashion designer?
So it really started when I started doing theater in the 8th grade with my dad, and then there was a couple years where I didn't get cast in the show, so I went backstage to do costume crew, and that's where I first started learning how to sew and put things together and pull together looks for a show in a short amount of time like that. So
bear with me. Julie says that she doesn't see that we're on. I'm going to text her and let her know we're here.
Well, I'm going to tell you that is interesting to me because I see no indication here. Hold on, folks, if this is live. Aren't we supposed to see more? Or the live up here says it's live, right?
Yeah, it's live.
Okay.
All right.
We'll edit that out and
We're
post. Oh, wait a minute. I see a couple of people. Okay, that's what we're looking for.
There's a lag, I'm going to tell her. Bear with me. Little technology challenges as we try to. All right. And it's interesting, though. I don't believe I am able to see the live session on my phone just because I think you're logged in as me there. So I'm just going to set this aside. So anyway, Charlotte, you are just ready to graduate from Cranbrook schools. And so that theater experience at Cranbrook, I'm actually a graduate of Cranbrook myself, and I was involved with that. And what a wonderful opportunity to be exposed to not only the arts, which are so fabulous over there, but I can see how that backstage experience could have been a source of inspiration.
yeah.
So can you tell us what your plans are for next year and how you decided to pursue those particular plans?
So I'm committed to School of the Art Institute of Chicago. So that was very exciting. But there's a lot that goes into picking a program like that because it is very rigorous and you have to be prepared for pretty much anything. So having a school like Cranbrook with a background in so many arts starts as such a great foundation for going to a school like that. And when we look at my portfolio later, you'll see there's many mediums and from lots of classes and other from sculpture to painting and drawing and fashion design and everything. So.
That's incredible, and it is. It just does all come together. So
for sure.
Yeah. So designers often study fashion trends and then anticipate designs that are going to appeal to customers. And I can't help but think that that's an interesting balance to strike because you have to listen to your own inner voice and also be aware of the marketing element. So no doubt you already have some ideas about trends that you think would sell. So, what goes on? How do you know when you're stumbling on an idea that you feel is worth pursuing?
I feel like that a lot of creative types of people, things just sort of come to them because a lot of my ideas just kind of come to me, and I'll start with like a basic idea, and then things will start other things will inspire me as I continue to work on a piece, and it'll end up very differently than the idea started. So, yeah.
I guess that's part of the creative process. It isn't necessarily sequential
Yeah, it's
or
not
linear.
linear.
Yeah. So this is really exciting. Charlotte is interning in the very near future with the iconic brand and designer Anna Sui. So what do you hope to gain from that amazing internship experience?
He's joining.
Good. Hi, Julie. Is she there?
Yep, there we are.
Hi,
Hi, Mom. So for Anna Sui, I feel like it's a great opportunity to get ready for the fast-paced environment that it is, because, you know, working on pieces here, you don't really have like a deadline except for your portfolio deadline. So I feel like you know, that'll really help like learn how to put things together with speed, and how to form professional relationships with you know, people that are very influential and huge in the fashion industry.
Oh my gosh. No kidding. That's going to be an amazing experience. And yeah, I can see that that exposure of working at the rapid pace that, and obviously they're juggling a lot at one time. And also, I think it would be really fascinating to see how things are made. So how do you translate designs into production? And yeah, I just think that's going to be such an incredible experience.
I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
Well, and Anna Sui and her organization is going to be fortunate to have you as well.
Thank you.
So, you know, it's interesting though. It's true, because I think that everybody, when they're more mature in their career, appreciates having fresh perspectives. And
like good to perform in are more what I gravitate towards, because, you know, it's all about putting on a show, so
yeah.
flashy things like that are really what I gravitate towards. And I work a lot with ruffles and structure and making things very big, because, you know, it is about putting on a show and looking great. So,
Well, you know, it's interesting because obviously drag queens aren't typically a Himelhoch customer, but there's a lot to be said for some cutting edge concepts in that market that translate and filter down to more conventional fashions. So there might be some design elements that you're thinking of now that we start to see in a year or two later emerging in the more conventional departments in our stores, right? Yeah, so you're really a trailblazer in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So, where do you see the opportunities in general for fashion designers? It seems like there's so many people who are now interested in pursuing this as a career.
Well, I think especially with you know, the new age technology and everything, you know, social media and the internet play a lot into opportunities. Because I don't think I would have ever known about the whole Anna Sui internship if I didn't have, you know, an Instagram or connections with other people through social media to gain opportunities like that. So
it really does make the world smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the markets evolve. Certainly, I think you know, we're in the online realm, and I think there's so much potential there. So. So what do you think about the life cycle of designs and their longevity in the current marketplace? I mean, when I think back to when your mother, Julie, who we'll introduce shortly, and I were growing up, you'd have maybe 4 seasons, and the collection would come out. It would last for the season. It would be stable and predictable, and then you'd move to the next season. So how does this affect you and the pace of coming up with ideas? And
well, I know there are some brands that have a new concept of, you design everything beforehand for the season, but then you release it every week. So I think that's very.
Well, that's an interesting.
And it creates a buzz every week instead of having like, you know, one thing so people come back. And I think that's very, you know, cutting edge and new concept. But
Really
I know
smart.
that you know, there's trends and then there's you know, classic fashion, and I think that if you design a collection, no matter for what season, you have to play with both to stay relevant. So
Words of wisdom here. So I think, Charlotte, I think everybody wants to see your portfolio, including me. Before we move on to that, though, I'd like to introduce Julie Rodecker. Julie, you're there?
I'm here.
Welcome. Welcome.
Good to be here.
It's great to have you with us, Julie. And Julie and I are great friends, and we go back many years together. And
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna have a chat in a little while about sort of shopping now versus shopping back in the day, and our views of fashions and so forth. But before we go to that, Charlotte, would you be willing to share your portfolio with us? I know you've got all kinds of things, not just fashions, but other types of.
So the first thing I sort of have at the I submitted my portfolio to every fashion design school in the same order with the same descriptions and the same pictures. So I started with this mural that I painted up in my bedroom.
Oh, that's beautiful.
My every room in my bedroom has a different mural and painting on it that I've done myself. So this has like glitter also, and the black parts are also glitter that I glued to the wall. So.
Wow.
And then you sort of get into this fashion, which I wore this dress to my homecoming this year.
That is stunning. I love the hemline. I love the silhouette.
Yeah, so the sleeve was stuffed with polyfill, so it was big, like a big sculptural
dramatic
piece of the arm.
Nice. Here, I can take that.
Oh, thank you. And then this is the first thing I made after I decided that I wanted to make clothes for drag queens and go into fashion design. So this is all hand stoned. You know, and then you have this beading and all of this just glitter, and you know, this is sequin fabric back there that you can kind of see there. But so
that
yeah,
is beautiful.
I did mention you know, working in those fabrics because I think they're just great for performing.
And I'm reading that you didn't mention that's made from a tablecloth, rhinestones, ribbon, and chains. That's just so creative.
I know. I couldn't find the right fabric in a regular fabric store, so I
that's resourceful.
I went on Amazon and I found a wedding tablecloth that was big enough to make this. So I and you'll see another piece later that is made from another tablecloth. So this was a work in progress. It did end up having more paint dripped on it and more of a waistline. But that piece is kind of made from things found around the weaving studio.
That's stunning. Absolutely stunning. Now I would wear that.
And then this is the other piece made from a tablecloth. This plastic part was made from a tablecloth, and I stuck stickers on it. And so all those triangles are stickers from Cry Cut paper, which is a craft paper from the store.
Oh my gosh.
And then I cut little fringe to it.
It's beautiful.
And then we sort of get into my weaving from, you know, Cranbrook's famous weaving studio.
Oh, yes.
This was the first piece I ever made, a scarf, and
beautiful.
It has inlaying in it, which are all those, you know, different colors and squares.
Would you ever envision weaving some of your own fabrics?
Oh, yeah, I do think about that, actually, because I feel like there's just a level of, you know, uniqueness that you can't find anywhere else.
Absolutely.
From handmade fabric like that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then we do continue on with my weaving studio pieces. So this is they're both tapestries. This was originally a bath mat, but like I said before, my ideas kind of morph as they come to me. So I decided to let the extra pieces fall out of the bottom for more of a wall hanging art installation piece.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. You are incredibly creative. You see something that's a normal object to other people and you turn it into something. Yeah.
And then these are more surface design pieces for my fashion class. So this is also those same stickers from that plastic skirt. And then black paint and rhinestones, and then this feather boa because, like I mentioned before, the textures. And then this is also hand rhinestoned paintings and threads.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
You're incredible. You're
Thank you.
incredible.
And then finally, this
Wow.
is a drawing of a drag queen named Violet Chachki. And this was a piece
That's
I.
great.
Oh. And then this last piece was sort of writing of things that I'd heard people say throughout the day, and I just kept going and writing my thoughts and things, and was sort of like diary. So.
Wow. Charlotte, oh my goodness. You are incredible.
Thank you.
I just can't wait to follow where you're going to go as you pursue not only your internship with Anna Sui, but then your formal education. And it's exciting. Oh my God. Julie, are you still with us?
I'm here. I'm watching.
Okay. Well,
Can you hear me?
Now we're turning the table. Yeah, we hear you. I think there's a lag time. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
try
And you're cutting in and out a little bit, so I'm trying to follow everything.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you a few questions because I think it's fun to just reflect upon how trends have moved and influenced our habits as consumers. So you and I still remember when we used to dress up for just about everything. And obviously
Yes,
our
absolutely.
social norms have changed. So if you think about that, in what ways have these norms influenced how you approach fashion and shopping?
Well, yeah, I remember how we even dressed up to go on the airplane. You and I were talking about that recently, and now you see people walking down the aisle in their pajamas, and it's kind of mind-boggling to those of us at a certain age. So, I kind of enjoy not having to. We used to for work and some social occasions, but I wish there was kind of a middle ground because I like to wear a pretty top and some nice pants, and a lot of people think that I'm really dressed for casual, but that's how I feel most comfortable and confident, and ready to deal with most situations that I might encounter during the day.
I have to tell you, I'm watching Izzy walking around here. Izzy hears your voice and I think is confused that she's not here.
I miss my girl. And especially the one sitting next to you.
Miss you.
I do.
So yeah, but it's interesting because I do think that a lot of the trends started, if we look back to the role of technology and business casual, and that just sort of took greater effects over time. Yeah, didn't it, Izzy? Yes. I know you can be a fan.
Charlotte should show you the tutu she made. Charlotte made Izzy a tutu.
Izzy a tutu for Halloween.
So Charlotte even designs clothes for dogs.
One lucky little young woman. Yeah, so I don't know, it's interesting. One of the things that I've noticed since we've started putting posts on our Facebook page for Himelhoch, and I've pulled out some of the old vintage ads, and people just really react strongly to them with almost this longing that, and this maybe we can bring you into this, Charlotte, too. People seem to long for just this real put together style, and the lines
Mhm.
are just so flattering in the silhouettes and everything, and the fabrics are so beautiful, which of course I think we've had so many years of casual dress that people want something maybe not all the way back there, but I don't know. um, do you see that there might be a movement or almost like a zeitgeist going back toward uh, just more of a wanting to dress as a statement of expressing your individuality and your identity in a really beautiful way? I don't know if you have thoughts about
Well,
that.
Charlotte, did you want to say something first, or?
Oh, God. It's okay.
Yeah, I do. I agree with that. I know people who definitely want to see more classic lines. I mean, shopping was so much more fun back then. It was like an adventure. You wanted to look for what was most flattering on you, more so than like you would try to incorporate some trends so you were current, but the lines and what was flattering on your own body seemed to be of much more importance back then. So I kind of miss that. And
Yeah.
when you went shopping to try to put together an outfit and the accessories and it doesn't feel like that anymore. You just when you get home now, for me, when I get home after I've shopped, I don't feel like this excitement about what I've purchased. Not like I used to, when it just seemed like I really was able to put some effort into it and see what worked personally for me. And it seemed more, we kind of get back towards that a little bit.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I mean, I do kind of agree with that. Maybe it's because I'm young, but I still feel excitement for the things I buy. But I feel like the more fast fashion that's out there, it's less. I mean, it's just not as exciting as like if you bought something that you know you're gonna have in your closet for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I've been talking with some of our designers who are coming on board and trying to express that I think that there's a need for something like that. And so we'll see. Maybe we can put it in that direction. We do have one designer who's also a master tailor, and he is really excited about designing some women's fashions. And he's gone over to Italy and he's bought some like cashmere from Loro Piana, and gone to
Lovely.
England and Scotland and got wools, and he's planning on creating a line for the fall, and I think it'll speak to some of those needs, and I hope some others will explore that too. It's interesting, but as a designer, if you think about doing something like that, it's obviously kind of a risky investment, because making making pieces like that, they require often more fabric, more expensive fabrics, and they're different enough that there isn't a guarantee that it's going to take off. But I don't know. I kind of have a
That's true,
feeling
yeah.
that there's just this need that's unmet for that. Things do cycle back in different ways, but they go in life cycles. So it's kind of interesting. So, Julie, who were some of your favorite fashion designers back in the day? And do you have any now? Other than Charlotte.
Well, yes, Charlotte's my fashion designer. She'll always be my favorite fashion designer. I really liked the Diane von Furstenberg, the wrap. I thought that was something that was flattering on most people, and the different patterns. I liked Perry Ellis and Calvin Klein. Now I like, I don't know if this is a from one store, J. Jill, I really like. I feel like they've got good quality mid-price clothing, and it's comfortable, appropriate for work, and they've got all these different they call it the Wherever brand, where they, you can put different pieces together and make an outfit. So I'm a little bit more about comfort these these days, but I still want to look good. But I also like Joan Voss, who's also makes more, knits and clothing. Nick and Zoe.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, those are my favorites right now.
And it's funny, I think that maybe the challenge is going to be able to create elegance that's comfortable. Yeah, if you think about trends.
Yeah, when I look back at some of the beautiful fashion that you've posted from the past, like, wow, that looks fabulous. But then I look at those pencil skirts where you couldn't even walk quickly because the skirts were so narrow. I'm like, I don't want to go that far back. But I love the look of it.
Incredibly thin. I mean, how could nobody has waist that thin nowadays? What's happened? I don't know. But I know I couldn't.
They were beautiful, though. I lines of those dresses and suits.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. Another trend that I think about, and this probably affects you as you're starting your career as a designer, Charlotte. But Julie, I know you and I, have seen a lot of change in the industry over the years, and there's been, and this is true for so many industries, but big conglomerates have bought out these iconic brands, and they just own collections of brands. And I think that it has the effect of, it's sort of not a full monopoly, but they wield a lot of power in the market. And so I think it makes it more challenging for a smaller upstart to find a place in that marketplace. And also, I think that it reduces the choices that consumers have. I think about, for instance, Henry Bendel, and that brand was closed down by its parent company, even though it was beloved by so many. And a lot of people are grieving the fact that it's been shut down. So
I haven't gotten it yet.
I don't know. I don't know if you feel like you see that in effect anywhere, is from the consumer's point of view or from the designer's point of view.
Well, I mean, I think it's a shame. Yeah, I think it's a shame that instances like Henry Bendel have gone on, because I think that we're losing individuality and the creative process when these big conglomerates take over these iconic businesses, and they don't seem to have any feel for what they were all about to begin with. And they want everything to be cookie cutter, and that's not fun for anybody. I mean, you want to have your own individuality. And I think what you're doing, Carol, with Himelhoch online is sort of bringing that back, where people can look at individual designers and for clothing and accessories. But I think that's something that we're really missing, and I think you're filling a niche by doing that. And I think it allows younger entrepreneurs, whether you're actually young or just young to the business, have a place to to show what they can do. And you're not going to find that in Target or you just it's great to see that coming back, and everybody can explore their own interests, and it's a good opportunity for everybody.
Well, thank you. And as you were saying, with technology and the internet and everything, I think there's the ability to be able to band together with a group of smaller designers with all this talent. And as you know, we're focusing on people from Detroit who have all this this creative vision for their designs. And yeah, that is our goal, is to be able to make a statement to the world. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about this trend or this?
I mean, I agree with it. I think that it's important to support smaller brands when, you know, larger brands, there are lots of issues with, you know, this might not be related, but, you know, their impacts on nature and everything else. Because, like, you look at places like Forever 21 and even Burberry, like, they burn their extra clothes.
Yes.
The things that don't sell, they burn. And I think it's important
I had no
to look
idea.
at smaller brands. Oh, yeah. There's a project at school about, in our fashion design class about certain brands' effects on, you know,
The environment.
the environment and everything like that. And so I think it's important to look at smaller brands, and you know, I think you know, I don't know.
Well, I
Sounds
agree.
like-
I think, you know, it's funny, but we have one designer who we partner with called Pingree Detroit, for example, and they take leather that was discarded for making cars in the auto industry, and they take that really high quality leather and they're making handbags and wallets and things like that with it, and they're using glues that are good, you know, not to the environment, and they actually hire vets to come in and do the sewing. So they're, you know, and then they give them a
That's
stake in the
fantastic.
company. And yeah, there's a furniture baker who's going to be coming on board who takes reclaimed wood, and you know, I think there's a movement with these smaller designers, and also inclusivity in design is another important trend. So it is interesting. It's I think it's fun to see that, yes, there's these big powerhouses, but there's still great opportunity out there, and to really find an avenue for self-expression, to make a difference with what you're doing, to serve the needs of people, and to doing it. So that's and I think it's an exciting time for consumers to be able to have more choices in that way too. So, well, that's about all I have for today, unless the two of you have any closing thoughts.
I think you wrapped everything up.
Oh, thank you. Well, I am very grateful for joining, and I just like give it up for Charlotte. Got this really bright future ahead, and I can't wait to find. Thank you, Julie. Great to
I'm
meet
very
you.
excited for her. I'm really proud for her. You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.